Hi, I'm Tony. I'm from McGill Marketing, and today I'm going to show you how to assemble a Vandal cover system with shocks attached. The first step you guys need to do is to clean your corners. Make sure all oil is off. And the way we do it here in shop is we use little pieces of lumber, and I clamp it directly to the table. I just use big C clamps and it'll clamp it down flush. Now when you clamp it, you need to make sure you'll have these gussets will be sent with it. You want to make sure you have enough room to slide the gusset in place, okay? Your next step is to take I use smaller C clamps, and I clamp onto it right here, okay? And you're going to do the same process to the other corner. Now this is the bottom, okay? Once this is clamped, secure, you're going to do the bottom first, and then we're going to switch it around and do the top. But what needs to be done now is get your welder, and you're going to weld any position you can fit. You're going to weld it, okay? Then I'm going to remove my clamp. Once it's welded, tack welded into place, then I'm going to finish welding across the top of the gusset, the end, and back along this way. Now notice whenever your C-clamp's into place, you cannot weld the whole gusset, okay? So what I do is do the front and tack two in the back. Now that I can release that and it's not gonna, this piece is in place, now I'm gonna finish welding all the way down this top of the gusset and down the bottom of the gusset. I'm gonna stop before I get to the seam, because if you weld that seam, then these pieces can't be removed. Okay, you're going to repeat the process to the other end. What we do here at our shop, we have a bolt, a nut, and a lock washer. About a 1-inch bolt, okay? You can use as big as bolt as you want, but this is what we use at our shop, and I'm going to show you how to apply it. I clamp this gusset out towards the tip so I'll have enough room to work. I'm going to drill the hole right back here. You want to make sure you're down low enough to get through the gusset, okay? All right, once you've drilled through, you're going to slip the nut through the hole, put the lock washer on, and the nut. Once you got that on, you want to snug it up before you release this. Now when you're building these, there's no reason to tighten these down super tight, because as you know, this Vandal cover is for clear plastic. So you're always going to once it's put together, you're always going to have to remove the bottom to put the plastic in, okay? But once you're snugged up, you can now release this clamp. And you're going to repeat that process just right beside the bolt you already have through it. Once you have that snug, you can take this clamp off, and this corner is now complete. You want it to look as professional as possible, so you take a file, and now that this is a smooth edge and it can't cut anybody, and it looks more professional. You're going to repeat this process on the other end. Okay. Now that that's done, the bottom of your cover is now complete. What I do is I I take the whole cover down and I flip it around and I'll lay it right back where I had it. So now I'm going to be doing the top. Some Vandal covers, if you prefer, get attached with piano hinge, and it'll be this exact F all the way around, okay? But in this case, it's going to be, we're going to attach it with bracket, hinged bracket with the hinged F at top. So you repeat the process at the top, the same as I did on the bottom of it. You're going to use your clamps and clamp it into place. Okay. Now we have all 4 corners welded in place. What I'm going to do now is flip it back around. Your 2-inch corner angles that we send with the knockdown kit, you're going to cut it down to 7/8 and about 1/2 inch. And you're going to center your hole, drill it, put your ball stud in, lock washer and nut, and tighten it up with wrenches. Right now I have all 4 of mine that I need for this side of the cover, okay? On the actual cover, you're only going to have 2, 1 on each end, okay? Okay, in this case, what I'm doing is I'm putting 45-pound shocks on these covers. The mounting measurements for that is 13 and 33. The bigger measurement, and you'll see on the handout, I'll specify exactly where it goes. The 33-inch mount goes to the cover, okay? So I'm going to take my tape measure and hook onto the top of the cover, come down 33 inches, make a mark with an ink pen or a blue marker or whatever. I'm going to do the same over here, 33 inches down. Now, the next step is going to be placing your shock mount in place. And what I do is I put it right on the blue line, and the back, where the back of the ball stud has a crease and it goes from round to the cone, I'll put that line directly on the edge of the cover. I'm going to put a bead back here and a bead up here, and that's all you'll really need. Just make sure it penetrates good. Okay, now I got that one welded in position, so I'm going to go to the other end and weld that. And once I get it done, I'll come back here with the rubber mallet, and the heat from it will cause it to swell out a little bit, and I'm going to knock it back into place, okay? As you can see, it's warped a little bit, so I'm going to take my rubber mallet, and right on the warped part, I'm going to smack it. Once you hit on it a couple times, it'll straighten it right up, okay? The last step to your cover assembly is, if you prefer to have locks on it, which most people do, is now you're going to mount the locks. In this case, we have a 40-inch cover, which is between 3 foot and 4 foot, okay? So, which made my shock mount come down a little further than normal. You know, if it comes down too far, you can even come in 4 inches. In this case, I'm going to mount my lock at 4 inches to keep it away from my shock mount, okay? Once you have your line marked, you're going to hook on to which is actually the bottom of the cover, the part that sits flush with the frame. You're going to hook your tape on there, and you're going to come down 8 1/2/16, which is actually 17/32, and make you a mark across it. It's important that you get this precise, because if you go too high, too close to the bottom of the cover, whenever you drill this hole out for your lock, you're going to end up going through the top of the cover, and your lock won't function correctly. If you go too low towards the top of the cover, what's going to happen is you won't be able to have a gusset tall enough for the plunger lock to go through whenever you go to try to mount it, okay? You want to be sure that you start your drilling right in the dead center of your X, okay? So now I'm going to drill this out. All right. Once that's done, you're going to have what's called lock parts. It is it's a hex style screw or bolt, and you got a sleeve and a self-locking nut, okay? What you do is you take your lock, put it in position into the hole like this, okay? Then you're going to take your hex style bolt, slip it through the sleeve and out the hole. And you're going to take your self-locking nut and just finger tight it on, okay? Then you can do the same process for the other end of it, all right? Through the sleeve, through the lock, self-locking nut, and you finger tight it on, okay? Once you have it finger tight, well, we send it's actually a bit that goes into a cordless drill. It'll be the same tool as what I have here. The self-locking nuts are 9mm. You just put your wrench on it. And tighten it down. And do the same thing to the other one. All right, now the lock is in position and it functions correctly. This is what's called a plunger lock, okay? You're going to repeat that process at the other end. Okay, the second lock is now attached. This cover is completed and it is ready to be set off to the side. If it's double-faced, you'll weld another cover. If it's single-faced, then you're ready to weld the frame, okay? In this case, my frame's already welded together, and this is actually a partial cover, so I'm going to have to set divider in order for this to be mounted across the lower 40 1/8 area, okay? So I'm going to demonstrate that. I'm going to show you how to mount your divider. Then I'll lay the frame down and I'll show you how to attach your cover, and we'll go from there.